What is the best way to advertise a product? How do you come up with promotional ideas you can sell to businesses for tens or even hundreds of thousands of dollars? And what do you need to do before you write copy for a product or service that you've never even heard of? We dive into these questions and more in Pitch Please, the only show on YouTube where real copywriters, marketers, and brand strategists invite you into their thought process and spill all their secrets. Our challengers have no prep, no safety net, and just minutes to come up with a plan and a pitch. Whether you are trying to get your first gig or sharpen your skills, we made this show so that you could feel what it was like to be in the room of a high-level brainstorming or strategy session, where you could watch pros as they do their job, live, unfiltered, and under pressure. So, today, our challengers are tackling a product in one of the fastest growing consumable product categories in the world, a space that just hit $1.5 billion in revenue worldwide and is expected to triple in the coming years. The product? Let's just say it's fizzy, it tastes terrible, and with the right pitch, who knows, maybe it will be the next thing that you drink. Let's dive right into our very first episode of Pitch Please. So, how do you feel about convincing businesses to waste money on vibes-based crap?
Oh yeah, I feel really good about it because it works.
Works how?
It works by raising shareholder value, by increasing the public's perception of how profitable the business is.
So it raises people's perception of profit, not actual profit, which direct response does.
Yeah, but when that actually does have a positive effect on stock price.
Right, but also at the same time, people at these companies don't eat stock prices.
The real thing here is that when everyone knows, or when, people are aware that your product exists. People are aware that your offering is there. They just need that kind of push to get them to go buy it. And that's where the brand stuff comes in. And so, yeah, brand advertising is great. We get to make really big, fun things that people like, that people then remember. And so then years and decades later, they're going to be like, oh yeah, remember that one time that one brand did that one cool thing? That's why I still buy that brand today.
Yeah, but how do people know to take action to buy that brand? Direct response.
No.
Direct response. We make people money.
You flash the commercial, like, oh yeah, I do have a craving for Coke.
Yeah, it works really well in Miami. Anyway.
What's our product? What are we really fighting about today?
Noah, show us the thing that we're debating.
Sorry.
Oh. Probiotic soda. So we are either launching or promoting a probiotic soda company's brand. Where do we even start with this? What is the sort of thing that a brand advertising strategist would sort of start thinking about when it comes to this question?
My first thought, honestly, is like, it's soda but less good. And so,
yeah.
How is that?
Have you ever had a good probiotic soda?
If you didn't call them soda, I might think they were acceptable beverages, but when you call it soda, I'm comparing it to soda and it just never lives up to it.
If I were to start writing ads, well, I mean, the first thing that I would do is I would probably test with a meta campaign or different ad groups where I would test static creative first before I ever put the money into actually making videos about this. Never, why would I waste time writing a script for something when I don't even know what my hook should be?
Yeah.
And I don't know what my hook should be until I know what people are actually clicking on and buying. And so using direct response tools like Meta ads, PPC ads, Google Outbrain, Taboola, and stuff like that, what we can do is put actual creative that has hooks or has different selling points or benefits to the brand that we're trying to sell of these, and then see which of them actually grabs the people that we're trying to get the attention of. Using direct response techniques, we can very cheaply figure out who our audience actually is and why they buy using these different approaches and different hooks. So without having to pay for a focus group, pay for a commercial, do any sort of partnering with Kroger, for example, or partnering with influencers. We don't have to do any of that and save a bunch of money, and now all of a sudden my probiotic soda brand is doing really, really well because we figured out exactly who's buying and why they're buying. The upshot of that is if we want to find people that are unaware of this, one of the things that we can very easily do in direct response is actually do coupons, giveaways, samples, and actually have some sort of campaign where people in exchange for putting in their email address, we'll send them a can.
On the brand side, we would do a similar thing, but instead of having, like, making someone who is unaware of the product opt in for a free can or like a coupon or whatever, we would just show up to a place that we know they're already going to be in real life and just give it to them for free. And the friction between, oh, I have to sign up for a free can of something I've never had before and might not even be that curious about, is way higher than, oh, I'm already in a place and they're handing out free soda and it's hot outside.
And I say that that's BS because imagine you're sitting on your phone scrolling, or you're in your house. You're like, I have to put on pants and go to a place to go sample this thing? Nobody would do that. Most Americans would prefer to just have the immediacy, the immediate gratification of that desire. I want thing, I do thing to get thing.
Well, you're not telling them to go to an event specifically for this. You are showing up at a thing in which they are already present. So say you go to the movies. We could have a partner with a movie theater and just give out a free can of probiotic aqua seltzer to everyone who shows up. And because that's not something anyone would choose in any other situation in their life. No one's going to sign up for a coupon for, the fourth highest selling can in this category. And so if you're one of those businesses, you do have to figure out, okay, how do we just kind of like get in people's mouths?
Well, that's gross. 1, 2, you're right. But at the same time, you can't ignore the power of free. And if it's one thing I've seen over and over again, is that people are willing to do stuff, even if they're on the more unaware side, to get stuff if it's framed as free. I'm sure you've seen that too.
I have seen it, and there is still friction to free, like in today's world. Like you go to a website, some sort of e-com thing, makeup. I'm buying all the makeup these days. Put in your email for a 15% off coupon. That could be a lot of money.
Oh yeah.
And I think the vast majority of people, myself included, do not put our emails in that box until like the third or fourth time we've gone to that website. And we're like, okay, I know I'm going to spend a bunch of money this time, so those savings will be really real. But like the first couple times, you're still like, I don't know. Even though they're literally giving you free money.
But that's still a good approach because now you know, based on the behavior you just described, that the people who do put in their email, they trust the brand, they know the brand, they want the product they're going to buy. So you don't actually need to do a whole lot of work on the email marketing side to just email them an offer and get them to take it.
I think the other thing you run into that I'd be curious about for these brands specifically is like, what does their D2C functionality look like? So for the audience, like, if you are Wild Wonder, can I go to your website and buy a box of your soda directly from you, or do I have to go to the grocery store to get it? If they're not in a position to ship directly to people, the kind of offer where it's like, oh yeah, here's a free coupon or whatever, that coupon might then require you to take a trip to a place that you otherwise wouldn't go, or remember to bring the coupon with you, and then you run into similar issues that I have where it's like, okay, well, if they're not at the right place at the right time, they're not actually getting the free.
I am operating under the presumption, because I probably would not work with a business unless they had the logistics set up to where a lot of this stuff makes sense. A lot of the stuff that I'm proposing, I'm only proposing if it makes sense. And for a lot of brands, especially like starting out, like if it's a brand new company, I probably wouldn't even have an email sign-up box. I'd start with like, we need to find out like what are the hooks? What is it about this product that gets people to buy? What's the USP? What is the unique selling proposition of this? And it doesn't even have to be something that's like distinct about the product. It can just be like how we position it in our ads slightly differently. A really good example of that would be like Dr. Squatch's soap. It's soap, And so like their whole unique positioning is it's soap, but without some of the chemicals and detergents that you'll commonly see, like emulsifiers and stuff like that. And so, but there's plenty of other artisanal soap shops that sell the same thing. But what Dr. Squatch did was basically have that hook, that USP, delivered in a funny way. And that positioning, that premise of like, why would you wash yourself with this? Nobody had really done that before. And it was because it was an entertaining ad that people could click on and take action on immediately that blew up that business to wherever it is today. And now they're in a position where they're in stores, they are getting sales organically, to where it makes sense for them to have brand advertising.
It's a really funny example to me because I know what Dr. Squatch is. I do not know who any of their competitors are. And I don't think until you said it just now, I had no idea about like the lack of emulsifiers or whatever the hell it is in their soap. I'm just aware of their branding.
Right.
Because I've been served an ad, and it wasn't recently, it was like probably several years ago, such that the name Dr. Squatch is in my head as some people who sell some type of soap to some other people. Because I was exposed to their brand, and I have a perception of them as, oh, it's a boutique kind of soap, and so if I found myself in a place, I'd be like, oh yeah, Dr. Squatch is kind of whatever, and I would be more likely to pick them over a competitor because I've heard of who they are before. Not because I have any idea whatsoever about what the hell they sell.
But you only became familiar with that brand because some direct response, some conversion-focused copywriter paid somebody to serve that ad such in the hopes of actually getting the conversion or getting the sale.
Well, you can do brand advertising the same way.
No, of course, but at the same time, like, you would only really use these channels, these online channels, mainly if you have some ability to have a CTA where people can take action to buy the thing.
Well, I know that that's not true because in my personal experience, we absolutely will run ads online that are, basically just content. And that is not driving towards any kind of CTA other than the be aware that we exist CTA.
Yeah, it's not to name names, but Rod showed me a very good, entertaining advertisement that literally, like, it was on YouTube. You scroll down, and there was literally no link to where you could buy the thing. It had been seen by 3.3 million people, and there was literally, physically, no link in the YouTube video where you could buy the thing that the advertisement was for. And so,
there is money. There's money for those.
I know. Yeah. And if I wanted to again, take advantage of my clients and not deliver tangible results, I would be great at brand advertising because I can sure as hell sell something like that. But would I feel good sleeping well at night? No, probably not. I'm an honest guy just trying to hawk goods on Carnival Barker, hawking goods on the side of a street. Hey, buddy, buy this thing. It's an honest day's work is what I'm trying to say. I'm not trying to manipulate people to go buy the thing.
Well, people want us to, our clients want us to manipulate people.
And I'm saying that is a fundamentally dishonest way to sell something.
I don't know about that.
And in the case of hawking actual probiotic sodas, I would really focus on those channels and those online mechanisms and really focus on the people that would be inclined to buy this but not be willing to go to the store to get it. Because I have a feeling, and this is just from my personal experience, that many of the people that are online or that are purchasing from catalogs and stuff like that, they have the desire to be healthier, but they do not have the desire to work to be healthier. And what I love about products like this is it allows you to offer an outcome while taking away the pain of taking any form of action or responsibility or accountability.
It's like posting on social media.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. Are you aware of the price point of most of these things?
Oh, it's slightly better than sodas, but yeah.
It's $3 a can.
Yeah.
It's quite expensive.
Right.
And I think that adds to my reticence around oh yeah, just have people buy it online. Because the places where I see it sold or I see it featured most prominently are not your regular ass grocery store. It's the Whole Foods, it's the New Season, it's the insert bougie grocery store wherever you live that has overpriced produce.
Yeah.
And so I wonder, is the average sort of person who would buy it online but wouldn't buy it in person also in a financial situation where they're oh yes, I would buy enough of this to justify.
But that, for me, just is an invitation for more hooks that you can test on the direct response side, which is fundamentally, you can position it as buy it direct from the maker. Don't buy it at the store because it's cheaper here. So you have that hook. So there's that gimmick. You can have discounts and deals if you buy directly from the distributor. You can have all sorts of different ways to position it in order to actually sell directly and make money that way.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is where we're going to disagree a bit, because to me, this feels like the Gucci of sodas, where it is expensive, and it being expensive, the part of the way what you justify that is by saying it's higher value, it's higher quality, and so when you get to the point where oh, it's super cheap, oh, it's whatever, I feel like that actually takes away a little bit from the sort of quality, healthy argument, because people are used to paying a premium for products that they perceive as being good for them. And so when you start discounting it in that way, is people's perception of how good it is for them also going to decrease accordingly?
Okay, I'm going to walk back what I said, because you are absolutely correct that there is a psychological trigger associated with premiumization. I can't even say that. And people know that in order to get lots of benefits, they typically need to pay more for it. However, how many people would actually buy from, let's say, like an Hermes bag, knowing that they normally cost $50,000 or whatever the hell, but you can actually get it from Hermes directly for $45,000, but only through this particular portal or this particular store or this particular course of action. So you're still getting the premiumization effect. You're still getting the high price being a signal, like a psychological trigger. Robert Cialdini in Influence talks about that. However, cost and price, it's an anchoring effect. It's a dopaminergic anchoring effect, where if you still get the premium price, but relatively speaking, you get it slightly cheaper here as opposed to here, what are you going to choose? You're going to choose to go to the online store and order my patented Shawnee Mac probiotic soda directly from me. It's made with all the sauce that I have on my person.
Ew. Ew. Lots of probiotics, I'm sure.
Exactly. I'm just oozing probiotics, man.
That's not a visual I wanted, ever. I f with the point you're making. I agree with the point you're making for YouTube. And if you're discounting, but you're still discounting to a premium price point, and so it still you still get that premium effect. Okay, fine, cool. That would be effective, and I think you have a valid point. To me, and this is also from a very much a brand perspective, where we don't have the same ability to affect the offer, to affect the price of a product, and so to go in and be like, oh yeah, you should discount this, is not in our vocabulary, and so just recognizing that. Because that's not something that's in our toolbox, the thing that you then do is think, what can we do to justify the price point? What are associations that we can create to make it feel even more premium than it is, so that at the $3 per can price point, it still feels like a relative deal, even if it is expensive. And so the placements in the grocery stores, the types of stores that you see it in, getting it at every little juice bar, every little boutique sandwich store in West Hollywood, getting it in those types of places, not because the average American is going to go there and see it, but so that the types of people who the average American is looking to as their sort of indicator of what's cool, what's valuable, what's a worthy investment, starts showing up with those things very slowly. What's the the Hailey Bieber shake? Are you aware of this?
Yeah.
That type of thing, where it's a $20 shake. Everyone in their right mind is why would you ever buy this? But you slowly start to see it spreading around because people are oh, she drinks it. Now it's a status symbol.
Right.
And so how do we, or what are the things we can do in the similar veins to slowly sort of signal that this isn't just it's not a soda. No, it's something different. It's something that people who are health conscious, people who care, people who have means are drinking.
I feel like celebrity association is the cheapest tool in the brand advertising toolbox.
Yeah.
Because, well, thank you for agreeing with me. Yeah. Because it's all based off that old Ogilvy approach, the old sort of Ed Bernays approach of associating the product with something bigger or something that people already like, and then using that and leveraging that to ultimately channel people's desire and interest.
Yeah, I mean, and I would say that it's not just products. That is the basis of branding itself, is how do you tie your company or your business to a higher ideal so that people feel like by investing or by spending money with you, they are getting access to something that they otherwise could not obtain.
No, and yeah. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Direct response trucks in big ideas as well. However, where's the Marlboro man of probiotic soda?
It would probably be like
you're talking about like getting Hailey Bieber to like take a sip of Olipop or some shit like that, and I'm talking about like, hey, no, if you're going to go all out on association, what's the story? What is the vision of America where everyone is drinking probiotic soda? That's what brand used to be good at.
Yeah, no, sorry. That's what you would want to do. You would not use Hailey Bieber for a thing like this. And so no offense to Hailey Bieber, you're great, you're wonderful, take care of our boy. But part of that like positioning thing is, okay, well, if this soda means this, if we're going to say that this stands for this or whatever, then you pick out either a celebrity, which is the cheap way of doing it, and I think not what most brands start with these days, but then you come up with a sort of persona or avatar, usually some segment of your target demographic. Typically, it's Gen Z, it's young people, it's whatever. Who's that sort of cool segment within Gen Z, carving their own way, defining culture on their own, insert more buzzwords here, that then we can affix our product to, and when they start using it and it starts showing up on TikTok, then you get this sort of organic groundswell of like, oh my God, the girlies are drinking it, I want to drink it now too.
And that's totally fair. So, but at the same time though, like, surely there are, how do I say, more scientific and more rigorous ways to approach that rather than, as you frequently say, vibes.
Vibes. You are not wrong, but I also think that the vibes are, when we say vibes can be a cheat word, sometimes vibes are just like a filler word for things that are difficult to describe. So it is absolutely true that over the past 5 years, we can point to multiple examples of things just like randomly blowing up because a certain segment of people on TikTok start using them. I think the Stanley mug is the perfect example of this, where yes, there's some functional benefit to it. Oh, big, like grippy thing for women with small hands. It's like great and fantastic. Mm-hmm. And a lot of that was like the aesthetic of the people who were using it gave the product a certain association and value to it that other people latched onto, even though there are plenty of other perfectly functional mugs. And plenty of knockoff mugs, and people still buy the Stanley mugs, even though they're more expensive, for a reason.
Yeah.
And so like that to me is a perfect example of like brand equity that has directly correlated with increased product sales as a result of like not people very intentionally being like, okay, let's test this, let's like try angles, blah, 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 blah. That was a thing that just like randomly started happening, and that brand was like, oh shit, we should lean into this because we want to make a lot of money.
But chicken or the egg question here, what started that? Was it Stanley Mug having a very good, because they did have a very good direct response, direct to consumer channel, or did the brand Stanley Mug be the thing that kicked that off? And what I'm trying to say over the course of launching and promoting this magical, different, somehow good tasting probiotic soda, you gotta start with direct response. You gotta find out who is willing to actually buy this thing before you start investing in brand equity.
So my understanding of that story, and obviously, this is just an example, and so your point could be broadly true. But when it comes to the specific story of the Stanley mug, my understanding is that they were selling their products primarily like direct response, but primarily targeted at like people in construction, people in trades, like manly men. And it just so happened that a very specific segment of women started using it for the very functional benefits of the product itself. Yeah, and so at some point they noticed, oh, holy shit, we have this like really rapidly growing user segment that we did not at all anticipate. Let's carve out space within our existing brand to accommodate these people because we want their money. And so it was only after the trend started happening that the brand then pivoted. But like that wasn't based on some sort of like direct response calculus. It was a response to what was happening, and then they made a brand change that then it further accelerated that trend.
And what I'm saying is that from a direct response side is that they could not have noticed that unless they were tracking their metrics, unless they were tracking sales, unless they were tracking demographics.
Yeah, but that's where we go to the vibes conversation where it's like, you can do that, or you can notice how all of a sudden every like 32-year-old white mom on TikTok has your mug and is talking and raving about it. Like, that is not a DR stat that you're gonna be pulling, but like, if you were active on TikTok, that is a thing you would pick up on. Perhaps even before the people at Stanley picked up on that trend happening. And so, you know, chicken, egg, there are some other bellwether indicators of what's going on there that you might miss if you're like being tied to the stats. And I would argue that that is a place where a lot of brands go wrong, where you get so focused on the numbers, you miss out on some of those cultural things that are happening around your brand that could be indicators of things going wrong or things going right, and like an opportunity being about to present itself that you might miss if you are like, oh no, but that investment doesn't make sense right now.
Well, I don't have a proper response to that beyond saying that you can use direct response to launch, to promote, but oftentimes it is used in conjunction with brand advertising, especially for larger brands, especially for brands that are already established. Almost everything that we've talked about today have both a brand awareness and direct-to-consumer, direct response approach to it. And they are willing to spend money on both approaches. And so one of the things that I've noticed over the course of my very long career is that if you are trying to get from $0 to $100 million, oftentimes direct response is the best way to go. But once you get there, you start to encounter a sort of membrane of difficulty where like your standard conventional data, media buying, the direct response toolkit stops being as effective because, you know, for whatever reason, you do need to channel some sort of broad, like, grand awareness and desire towards the product. And I do not think that direct response has an adequate tool in its toolkit to actually do that. And that is why you don't see very many multi-billion-dollar companies mainly relying on direct response.
Yeah. With that said, I would point out, and like to your credit, that like when you look at those multi-billion-dollar companies, while they do have these enormous brand investments, they're also making enormous investments into their DR side as well. And so, you know, look at any shoe brand. You might have a perception of what they stand for, what they're doing, all this other stuff, but you are also being served banner ads for buy this shoe at this place, go to our website, no matter where you go on the internet. And so they are very aware too that like, you know, it's not just enough to make people aware. Once they are aware enough and they're being served stuff sufficiently often, you also need to serve them with offers as well. Because that's how they make their money.
Yep. Yeah. And that is ultimately the sort of yin and yang of brand and direct response.
Yeah.
So, who won?
Yeah.
Brand or direct response? Who is going to be next? What product should we debate and try to pitch next? And also, did you even like this format? Like we're testing something new here. So tell us the answer to all these questions in the comments below. And also, we will see you next time, maybe if we do this again, on Pitch Please.
Pitch Please.